Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping straight into an amazing journey through the biblical text today, specifically looking at Proverbs 23. This book is literally like a giant treasure chest of advice. So if you're looking to figure out how to make really good choices at school, at home, or when you're hanging out with your friends, well, you are in the absolute perfect place. Let's get to it.
Okay, let's dive into this. The really big question we got to ask today is, what does it actually mean to have a wise heart? I mean, you hear adults talk about being wise all the time, right? But wisdom isn't just about knowing a bunch of math facts or being able to spell super long words. Nope. Having a wise heart is really about knowing the difference between a good choice and a bad choice. And then, actually making that good choice. It's all about how you treat people, how you listen, and how you speak.
Key number 1, choosing your words carefully. This is our very first lesson from the biblical text today. Being wise totally starts right at our mouths. Words are, they're incredibly powerful. They can build people up and make them smile, or they can completely tear someone down. A wise person totally gets that they're the boss of their own words. They don't just blurt out the very first thing that pops into their head.
Let's check out exactly what the NIV Bible says about this. It tells us, "Do not speak to fools, for they will scorn your prudent words." Now, if you're hearing that and thinking, whoa, okay, those are some pretty massive, unfamiliar words, hey, don't worry about it at all. Let's just break it down and figure out what a prudent word actually is.
Prudent. Basically, this is just a fancy way of saying you're being really careful, really smart, and making excellent choices. When you use prudent words, it means you're actually thinking before you speak. You're pausing to ask yourself, is what I'm about to say kind? Is it helpful? Is it true? Like, if you're giving really good, helpful advice to a friend who's super upset, boom, you are using prudent words. You're being wise.
But wait, what about that other big word, scorn? So to scorn something means to make fun of it, or just completely ignore something that's actually really good. Think about it. Have you ever tried to give a friend a totally helpful piece of advice on the playground? Maybe you told them, hey, don't climb on that, it's broken, and they just totally ignored you or even laughed in your face? Yeah, that feeling right there, that's exactly what it means when someone scorns your good advice. It really doesn't feel very good, does it?
And this brilliantly illustrates the huge difference between two types of people. On one hand, we've got the fool. This is the kind of person who just makes fun of good advice and literally refuses to listen. On the flip side, we have the wise heart. This is someone who listens carefully and actually wants to learn and grow. Honestly, it's pretty clear which one is the better choice, right? A wise heart is just always ready to learn.
Moving right along, key number 2, treating others fairly. This one is all about how we treat people, especially those who might need a little extra help or protection. Because being wise, it isn't just about you. It's totally about how you treat the people around you.
In verses 10 and 11, the biblical text gives us two very specific warnings. It says, do not move an ancient boundary stone, and do not encroach on the fields of the fatherless. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're like, I don't even own a field, and what on earth is a boundary stone? I get it. These sound like crazy rules from thousands of years ago. And, well, they are. But stick with me, because they actually have a massive meaning for us in our lives right now. Now, what's really interesting about this is what a boundary stone actually was back in the day. See, they didn't have wooden fences or chain-link fences like we do. Instead, they used these giant, heavy rocks to show exactly where one person's yard ended and the neighbor's yard began. So, sneaking out and moving a boundary stone in the middle of the night, that meant you were secretly trying to steal your neighbor's land. The big lesson here is super simple. Don't steal, don't cheat, and definitely don't take things that aren't yours. Just play fair.
And listen to this, because if someone tries to cheat people who are vulnerable, the biblical text gives a seriously powerful warning. It says, their defender is strong. He will take up their case against you. When the text mentions the fatherless, it's talking about kids who don't have parents around to stand up for them. But this verse is an amazing promise that they are not alone. They have the ultimate protector.
And that incredibly strong defender, that's God. He protects those who need it the absolute most. When people are being treated unfairly, he sees it. He steps right in to make sure that things are made fair and right again. So being wise means joining him. It means caring for people who need help instead of taking advantage of them. For sure, you always want to be on the side of fairness.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Key number 3 is listening, learning, and correction. We find this in verse 12, and it's all about how we actually grow our wisdom. Because let's be real, nobody is born knowing everything. We all have to learn. And sometimes, learning means letting someone correct us when we mess up.
Check out these two amazing steps. Step 1, apply your heart to instruction.
Step 2, apply your ears to knowledge. Notice it doesn't just say, hear it. Nope, it says apply your heart and ears. That means active listening. When your teacher, or your mom, or your dad is explaining something super important, applying your heart means really dialing in, paying attention, and letting that good teaching sink deep down inside so you don't forget it.
Okay, now verses 13 and 14 have a quote that honestly sounds pretty intense. It says, "Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish them with the rod, they will not die. Punish them with the rod and save them from death." Wow, I know, that sounds incredibly serious. But let's take a breath and talk about what discipline really means in this context.
So, the crucial point is this. Discipline and correction are actually forms of love and protection. Think about it like this. If you were about to chase a bouncy ball right into a busy street with cars zooming by, wouldn't you want a parent to yell, "Stop!" and yank you back, even if they had to be super strict about it? Of course you would, because they're saving you from serious danger. When the adults who love you correct your behavior, they aren't just doing it to be mean. They are doing it to keep you safe from dangerous, harmful choices.
And that brings us to our final theme today from verses 15 and 16. Key number 4, the joy of right choices. When you listen to instruction, when you treat people fairly, and when you choose those words super carefully, something absolutely amazing happens.
Just listen to this beautiful verse. "My son, if your heart is wise, then my heart will be glad indeed." Imagine the adult who loves you the most, maybe a parent, a grandparent, or a guardian. When they see you making kind, smart, and wise choices, it literally fills their heart with so much gladness and pride.
The next verse says, "Their inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right." Having a wise heart and speaking good, kind, true words, that is totally something to celebrate. Not only does it make you feel awesome inside, but it brings a huge amount of joy and happiness to the people who are helping you grow up. It's a win-win.
So as we wrap up our explainer today, I really want to leave you with this final big question. How will you make your own heart wise today? Are you going to think before you speak on the playground? Will you listen closely when a teacher gives you instructions? Or maybe you'll stand up for someone who's being treated unfairly. You've got all the keys right in front of you. Now it is totally your turn to use them. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to explore the biblical text today, and I absolutely cannot wait to see all the wise choices you make. See you next time.